Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be taking a little break from talking about skincare and I'm going to talk about the all new Urban Decay Stay Naked Foundation and Concealer. And I picked this up last week and I've been using it ever since, and I've been talking a lot about it on my Instagram. A lot of you want to see what it looks like when I'm applying it to my skin, and you also wanted me to review the product as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing today in today's video. I'm not going to do a wear test because I already know how it wears. So I'm going to share my shade range. I'm going to show you how I apply it to my skin, what it looks like while I'm doing it, and I'm also going to review the product and let you know whether I'm going to keep the product or if I'm going to get rid of the product. So if you're interested in seeing what I have to say about the new foundation and concealer, then please keep on watching. Alright, so I've just put my bangs up for the video and I'm going to go in with the first product. Now I already have all of my skincare on. I have my SPF. Now I'm going to put a primer on my face. Now I'm going to be going in with the Cover FX Gripping Primer Plus Firming. I've talked about this before and I have a video dedicated to this one along with the Pore Primer as well from Cover FX, and I really love this primer. It works amazing, and I know it was sold out for a really long time too, and it's slowly coming back in stock, and then it sells out again and it's back in stock. So it's definitely really popular. So I'm gonna put a fair amount on my hand here, and it is like a gel type texture if you haven't already seen this before, and it really is a gripping primer. It's very tacky on the skin and your makeup just sticks right to it. So I'm gonna rub my hands together here and just apply it all over my face. I do put this underneath my eyes so that my concealer really sticks to the primer. And it makes it last all day too. This primer literally makes your makeup stay in place all day. It's amazing stuff. Alright, so now that that's on, we're going right in with the foundation. Alright, so I'm going to go right into the foundation. Now this is the Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation up to 24 hours. Now I have not worn this foundation up to 24 hours because I wouldn't wear my makeup on that long, but I definitely have worn it for over 12 hours. I would say about 14 hours I've worn this, and the other day I actually got up really early. I had somewhere to go and I put my makeup on around 7:30, and I literally didn't take my makeup off until that night around 8:30 at night. So it was definitely on for about 13 hours. And my makeup was in place. It looked so good still. Could literally go out for a date night and not even touch up my makeup. My makeup looked that good, and it just, everything was in place. I had no creasing. I didn't have any cakiness whatsoever, and it was beautiful. So it says up to 24 hours. I do believe it because it definitely lasted 13 hours on me, and there was another day that I left it on and it was probably on my face for about 15 hours and it looked really good still. Those two times that I used it, I was wearing the primer that I put on my face today, and my makeup gripped to it and it lasted me all day. And there was also another time that I used it without a primer and I just had my SPF underneath, and my makeup still looked really nice and it lasted all day as well. So if you're somebody that doesn't like to wear a primer, you're still in luck because the foundation literally lasted on my skin all day long. It was just so beautiful, and I was just so impressed with this foundation and concealer that I'm going to show you. Here's a close-up clip of what the foundation looks like, and it's a very sleek packaging. It's in a plastic container, and I really love the rose gold accents on it. It's very classy and chic, and it would look really nice on the vanity, and I really love the packaging on this. It just looks so rich. So let's get right into the application. So it does have a really nice pump at the top, and I usually do 2 pumps to start with. And I always put it in the palm of my hand, always. Then I get my beauty blender and then I grab from the palm of my hand. So I like to start on one side and work my way around. I don't self-tan my face ever because I do break out when I self-tan my face. So my face is always lighter than my body when I am self-tanning. And I got the shade 30NN in this. So this matches pretty well when I'm self-tanning. It's still a little bit on the light side, but it will match really well once I have the rest of my makeup on my face. This also comes in 50 shades, which is really nice, so it gives a lot of options for people. And because there's 50 shades, I find that the shade range kind of goes more on the light side. So I think you definitely have to go up a shade when it comes to the concealer and the foundation. As there's 50 shades, they had to make the formulas a little bit lighter to make room for those 50 shades, is what the girl at Sephora had told me, which makes sense. So you may have to go up a shade or two when it comes to this foundation and concealer. But it really does go on nice. It's very lightweight and it literally feels like you're not wearing any foundation on your face whatsoever. Now I do have a ring light in front of me here, so it is making my face a little bit more white than it is in person. So it may look like it's not matching too well, but really in person it really does. And then once I put bronzer and blush and all my rest of my makeup, it really does tie in very nicely. So come the winter time, this shade might be okay, but I think I'm gonna have to probably drop down to 20 NN for the winter. Unless I'm self-tanning, then I'll stick with this color. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more here to make it a little bit more full coverage. I brought you in a little bit closer here just so that you can get a better look. And as you can see, it is covering up some of my redness that I have. I get a lot of redness on my chin and my cheeks, and I do have some past acne marks on this side as well, and it really does cover it up really nicely. This is a natural finish as well, so it's not too matte and it's not too dewy, which I really like because I don't really like foundations that are too mattifying, but this really isn't that matte, so that's why I really love this foundation. And of course, you can add a nice setting spray on top to give you a dewy look if you want as well, which I do sometimes. So that's how it applies. I do go underneath my eyes a little bit, but I usually focus more on concealer in that area. And just like that. So as you can see, it really does cover up my redness and my past acne marks really nicely. And once I put the rest of my makeup on, you will see that this foundation does match pretty nicely. This is a fresh tan, so really I could go to 40 NN with this foundation to match more my neck, but I like to have my face a little bit lighter than the rest of my body anyways, and then when I go and put bronzer, it just ties it in really nicely. And I do think that 40 NN might be a little bit too dark for me because I am pretty fair. I do find that this foundation really does match me pretty well, especially when you see me in person. With this bright light, it makes my skin a little bit more lighter, but I'm really pleased with the shade range that they do have, and this one really does match me really well. So now I'm gonna go right into concealer. So now I'm going to go in with the concealer, and before I do that, I'm going to show you what it looks like up close. And as you can tell, it's a really nice, classy, clean packaging. It matches the foundation really nicely, and the pair together on the vanity is really nice and sleek, and I love that. As you can see in this clip, the doe foot is a little bit of a different style than what the typical doe foot usually looks like. It's more on an angle, and it's a lot different, but it's really easy to work with, and I really love the style of this doe foot applicator. It really does apply really nicely, and it gets in right underneath your eyes, right where you want it to be. So the shade that I ended up getting in the concealer is 30 NN, which is neutral neutral, just like my foundation. And originally I had purchased 20 NN in the concealer. So here I thought that the concealer range was going to be very similar to the foundation range, but to me, I feel like the concealer range is a lot lighter than the foundation. So when I picked 20 NN, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a little bit lighter than my foundation, which is what I want because I like to have underneath my eyes a little bit lighter and brighter. So I went with the 20 NN. So when I tried it for the first time at home, I put it underneath my eyes and it was literally snow white. It was such a light color on me. It was just crazy. So of course I had to put a different concealer on top to darken it all up to make it match more to my face. And then I ran to Sephora, exchanged it for the 30 NN, which is a lot better. So just know that when it comes to the concealer and the foundation range, because there's those 50 shades like the girl had told me, I think everything is running a little bit on the lighter side. So you have to go up a shade or two when it comes to the concealer and the foundation. Just know that before you go ahead and purchase it. So whatever you think you are, go up one shade to that and try that out, because the 20 NN in the concealer was literally snow white on me and it was just ridiculous. So So I have 30 NN in the foundation and I have 30 NN in the concealer, and this actually doesn't even match the 30 NN on my foundation. So you're gonna know what I mean when I show you. That's okay. I like to have underneath my eyes a tad lighter than my foundation, but this actually is not the exact match to the foundation of the 30 NN. So if I want my concealer to match completely to my 30 NN, I would probably have to go to a 40 NN in the concealer to match this foundation. So it seems kind of weird, but I'm telling you, unless you try it yourself, you're gonna know exactly what I mean. So when it comes to concealer, I don't like to put a whole whack of concealer underneath my eyes because I feel like I don't need it. I don't have dark circles, as you can tell, but I do have some pinky purple tones in this area that makes me look tired and gives me that discoloration. So I do like to put a little bit in that area to start with, and then if I need more, then I will definitely add more. So I have my mirror here and I'm just going to apply it. And I usually do about that much to start with, and then if I need more, I'll definitely add more if I have to. And then I like to get my finger and I like to pat it into my skin. The warmth of your finger really does help blend it and push it into the skin versus a sponge or a brush, but that's my opinion. And as you can tell, it is a lot lighter than my foundation, but I do like that because it's very brightening. It makes you look awake, and I think it's a very nice look. You can imagine by looking at me right now and seeing how light this is, what the 20 NN would have been. It was like Snow White. It was like the color of my pillow back here. It was awful. I don't know what happened, but if you have that skin tone, it will look beautiful on you, but on me, it was just so light. It was crazy. So it does blend really nicely. The concealer is actually a full coverage, and then the foundation is a medium coverage. So the concealer is definitely full coverage, it really is, and I love that when it comes to concealers, because we do want to have a nice full coverage underneath there, especially if we do have dark circles and discoloration. And I find that this concealer is not cakey. It is not drying either. It's a very nice formula, which I really can appreciate because, as you know, there's a lot of concealers out there that are very drying and it makes your eyes look worse during the day, and it's not a nice look. So this concealer is a very lightweight, full coverage concealer that gives the perfect coverage and has the perfect finish to it as well. All right, so as you can see, it gives a really nice coverage to my under eyes, and I really love the outcome. Now at this point, I could put a little bit more, which I might, in the leg area here. I do find that this is a problem area for me, so I will conceal that up a little bit more. Now I do find that with this concealer, you really don't even have to set it with powder. Because it's a full coverage and it has a really nice finish, I find that it doesn't even crease up when I'm not using a powder. But majority of the time, I always set underneath my eyes. I think a lot of us do, just to make sure that the concealer is in place and it's not going to move during the day. But just know that this concealer, even if you skip a powder that day, you're going to be fine. It's still going to look really nice underneath your eyes all day long. It's a very nice finish on my skin. The foundation gives a flawless finish. It has a natural look. You can still see that it's still a little bit luminous, which this foundation isn't, but with that primer being underneath, it's still giving a really nice natural finish to my skin, which I really love. I do have normal to combination skin as well, so when it gets to that 12-hour mark, I am a little bit shiny in my nose area and a little bit on my chin and a little bit on my cheeks, but it doesn't make my foundation break up. It doesn't make me look cakey, and I don't get that gross look at the end of the day. It literally stays in place all day, and I just absolutely love the finish that this foundation gives. It's just beautiful. So I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on, and I will be right back to give you a little bit more info on this foundation before I let you guys go. So I will be right back. Alright, so I'm back from putting on the rest of my makeup, and as you can tell, the foundation shade really now does tie in with my self-tanner that I do have on my neck. Adding the bronzer and the rest of my makeup really did tie everything in. So that's what I mean when it comes to this foundation. I probably could have gone up one extra shade, but then I think that I would just be too dark in the face and it just wouldn't look right. So that 30 NN really is a perfect match when I'm self-tanning. So when it comes to the winter time when I'm not self-tanning, I'm gonna try the 30 NN just to see, but I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna have to drop down to 20 NN for the fall and winter if I am not self-tanning my neck. So overall, I'm really pleased with the foundation and concealer. I really love it. It really does last all day long, especially having that gripping primer on underneath, or any primer for that matter. And even if you're somebody, like I said, that doesn't like to wear primers, I have tried it without primer and just my SPF, and it really did last a fairly long time during the day, but the primer did take me a little bit further at night because I did get oily and whatnot. So yeah, overall, I really love this foundation. It's well worth it in my opinion, and it really does last, like I said, a really long time. And the finish is just beautiful. The foundation, like I said, is medium coverage with a matte finish, but really it's not a matte finish in my opinion. It still gives a really nice natural finish to the skin with a little bit of luminosity, but nothing crazy because it is supposed to be a matte foundation. And the concealer is supposed to be a full coverage concealer with a matte finish as well, but again, I don't think it's very matte in my opinion. It's more of a natural finish, which is really nice, and I love that. So if this foundation and concealer is too mattifying for you for any reason, at this point you can go and put a nice dewy skin mist on top of your skin, or a setting spray to kind of get rid of that powderiness on your skin. Today I didn't put any setting spray on top of my face. I just have my highlighter, brush and bronzer, and then of course my eye makeup. So normally I do set my makeup afterwards with a setting spray of the Urban Decay All Nighter, or I'll use the Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist if I want to add a little bit more dewiness to my skin, especially if I'm feeling more on the dry side. But today I have no setting spray on whatsoever, and as you can tell, it really is a beautiful foundation. The concealer is perfect. It's the perfect shade for under my eyes to give you that nice brightness underneath the eyes that makes you look really awake and healthy, and I love that. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video, and of course if you have any questions, leave them below for me and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as I can. And if you're wondering what I'm wearing for the rest of my makeup in today's look, I will have that linked below for you as well in the description box so that you can check those products out as well. So I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Take care, and we'll see you guys then. Bye guys.